As the jeeps from Kargil ride up the Hundarman hill, leaving behind the mighty Suru river, one can recount the memories from 1971 when India and Pakistan were at war and the village of Hundarman became a part of India. Hundarman village is a terrace settlement located around 12 kilometers from Kargil, very close to the Pakistan border. Since 1971, the houses are abandoned. A few families still live in their ancestors' land and have formed a new Hundarman village 200 meters up in the mountain from the original one. Their homes were frozen in time since decades. Only in the summer of 2015, team of Roots Ladakh opened it and found the stories of people scattered around the village, which led to the discovery of the settlement in the form of Unlock Hundarman Museum of Memories.
For me, the story of Hundarman is actually, in a way, the story of Kargil, because what we feel is that Kargil for an outsider is typically is like an obscure place. Nobody really knows where it is, and all they know about Kargil or they hear the word Kargil is of the war. And that what has happened is over the time has led to a sense of loss of cultural identity, a sense of social identity for us. So the idea behind doing the Hundarman project was exactly that, to change that preconceived notion of outsiders when they come to Kargil, to let them see Kargil from a different perspective. So when we initiated this project in 2015, we tried to work with the local community of Hundarman, in their partially abandoned settlement of Hundarman Brok, where we established a small community museum using the artifacts that we found in their settlement itself, and tried to narrate the story of the people there, of how people lived there, their culture, their lifestyle, and how they would spend their day-to-day life. So that was the objective of doing this project. So for us, it's not just a one-time project, but more of a statement that we try to make to the outside world, letting people see the place beyond the perspective of war.
A blend of artifacts and memories which later evolved into a living museum that demystifies its dominant narrative as a war-ridden village. Following the discovery of the site, the documentation of its architecture, details, social organization, and the abundant artifacts, the team Unlock Hundarman wanted to assemble all these elements to tell the story of the site and its people. The settlement is frozen in time ever since the families migrated. These homes were open to unfold the lives and stories of the people living here.
Muhammad Bakar Hundarman Brokna, the museum pongacha shuru som yabna ngachi yuli ahmiyat po kafi badai sung, and then tourist naam bahar tourist kafi ngacha din talibat kafi तादाद का the museum पे नु काफ़ी पुराना सामान और हर किस्म के सामान और बहुत पुराना सामान है देनु नोटो का दोनों गुंजलाम हर किस्म पे पुराना नसक़त देनु के सिक्का पुराना और दोना बाकी हर किस्म चीज़ आची देनु थोड़ा.
Unlock Hundarman, Museum of Memories, is a story told through the narratives of war, arts and crafts, lifestyle and culture. These stories are brought alive with the help of artifacts ranging from old utensils, farming tools, Karachi biscuits, books from Lahore, French coffee, medicines from Germany, and war artillery found on site. The experience is designed to give visitors a unique perspective into the history and culture of an otherwise unknown border settlement of Kargil. The surviving structures, much of it spectacular in scale and sublimely beautiful, is the foreground to this living heritage experience. People are still using the lower stories of the old settlement for agricultural purposes, storing tools and grass. In terms of architecture, the level structure of the settlement seems to have been created in accordance with the changing needs of the settlers. The upper levels, used as homes, were built later as whenever an individual family decided to settle here permanently. The narrow pathways were then constructed to connect these homes to each other and to the terraced fields. The homes have been constructed from locally sourced materials such as stone, earth, and wood from willow and poplar trees. Lighter materials like willow mesh and clay plaster have been used for the upper floors, while heavier materials like stone or rammed earth have been used for the lower floors. The frugal architecture that has stood the test of time is a testament of the old ways of human ingenuity. Traditionally, locally sourced wood from trees like poplar and willow was used for making bows and arrows, as well as for weaving baskets. The willow mesh, locally called shak, used extensively in the architecture of the site, is another example of the wood crafts of Hundarman. Sheep wool and goat hair were the two materials used for textiles. Sheep wool, spun on wooden spindles and woven into cloth on homemade looms, was used to stitch clothing items such as traditional overcoats, trousers, shoes, socks, and caps. Goat hair was used to make rugs and blankets. The kitchen was the heart of the home in all respects. It was used for cooking, eating, entertaining, and even sleeping during winters. The fireplace in the center of the room served the dual purpose of cooking and keeping the room warm. The artifacts displayed in this room portray how utensils evolved over time from crude wooden and stone vessels to polished metal ones.